In 2024, the Broncos will have a new offensive coordinator, Walt Bell. He was last the offensive coordinator and quarterbacks coach for Indiana. What can you tell us about Coach Bell and what he brings to the table for Western Michigan?
Sure. So he's young, which I like. It's something you see a lot on our staff. There we got a lot of young folks, which I love. He's 40 years old. He used to be head coach at UMass, which is now joining the MAC, which is pretty darn cool. So he's going to get to coach against his alma mater at some point. I like that he's going to come in. He's probably going to be a pass-first offense. And with Hayden Wolf, he has become the front runner, obviously, and is going to be starting QB. I think with his arm and his skill and in our receiving core, I think it's going to mean a lot of offense and a lot of big-time plays, and I think it's going to be a lot of fun. I'm excited. You know, you see a lot of different things online from like previous schools talking about him. Maybe he didn't have as much success at his last schools and a lot of talking down, but I trust LT, Lance Taylor, a head coach, and his judgment in getting a good guy. So I'm really excited to see the progress of the offense and what he can do.
Now, last season, was it Billy Kosh that called the plays, or was that Lance Taylor?
So, I'm not sure. Probably maybe a little bit of both. I wasn't privy to those conversations, but we're going to find out this year.
Yeah, because, you know, one thing like I really noticed about Western Michigan last year was the number of plays they were running per game. It was very fast paced. So I was just kind of trying to figure out, are we going to see a change in that with Walt Bell, or is that really more Lance Taylor's doing why they ran so many plays, and we can expect that to continue this year? Or
I have a feeling it's going to continue just from the energy that LT brings to the team. It's going to be fast paced. It's going to be in your face. It's going to be smash mouth football. So I think we're going to keep up the tempo 100%.
Awesome. So let's go over to the quarterback position. You already mentioned Hayden Wolf earlier. So he returns from 2023 when he was the starter. However, that room behind him kind of took a little bit of a makeover in the offseason. They lost Trayson Bourget to BYU, Jack Salopek to the portal. They bring in Brock Lowry from Indiana. How did that quarterback room look and shape up in the spring?
Yeah, so I think last year was very interesting. We had, to use the phrase, too many cooks. We had too many cooks on offense. We had like 3 different possible starting quarterbacks. And, you know, we started off the season with Salopek, which he had the previous season to kind of show what he could do. And there was definitely flashes of you know, real good quarterback play. But at the end of the previous season, I think we should have been done with him. There was a transfer, obviously, of head coach, and I think they wanted to give him a chance at the beginning of the next season to like kind of earn his spot back. But I think we played him a little too much, and we lost a lot of our opening games and just did not look good on offense. So, I mean, after that, we put in Trayson Bourget, obviously. And like he did what he needed to do. He was put in, at least at the beginning, like at the end of games that Salopek had been kind of like not playing well in. So, and he like righted the ship for a lot of those games, maybe not winning. But yeah, Western Michigan, the fans love Trey. So I think it was good when we finally got Wolf out there, because he was 100% the best player. And I think a lot of Western fans saw that last year, that he was better than the other 2 guys. And a lot of the fans just really just wanted Wolf to be playing at all times. So now that it's slimmed down a lot, it's going to be Hayden Wolf all day long. And I think just having that solidity on offense is going to help. And we have a new head coach, and it's not going to be a new OC. It's not going to be like who's going to be playing. Like, is he going to be able to which player is going to mesh best with offense? It's just going to be one guy probably playing quarterback, Hayden Wolf, and the development I think will come. So I'm liking it a lot better this year.
You know, as an Old Dominion fan, we were talking before the show. I'm very familiar with Hayden Wolf. He was our quarterback. He was our quarterback for a number of years, and the thing like I like best about Hayden, he throws a beautiful deep ball, right? He likes to throw it deep. He likes to throw it deep. He looks to throw. I feel like he likes to throw it deep often. And man, I feel like the deep ball is his specialty. So definitely excited to see more of that here in 2024.
Yep. Oh, and also a person to look out for. This player, he's a freshman, J.D. Davis. I think he comes from Georgia, Grayson High School in Georgia. And apparently he had like a historic senior year in high school last year. He was a great get. So I think in the coming seasons, he's going to sit behind Wolf and possibly come in and be a huge factor for us in these next coming years. So look out, J.D. Davis, man, true freshman.
Awesome. All right, moving over to the running game. They lose C.J. Hester to the portal, but they bring back the dynamic duo of Jalen Buckley and Zahir Abdul-Salam. Buckley kind of burst onto the scene last year. I think he was a redshirt freshman. He was the leading rusher with 997 yards and 10 touchdowns. Will we see that same 1-2 punch in 2024, or you think we'll see even more of Buckley?
So let me tell you this right now. It's going to be the Jalen Buckley show. He was outstanding last season. And from what I understand, he wasn't offered by like very many schools. I think his younger brother is also with the program as well. So hopefully he stays. But man, Jalen Buckley last year, so many yards, so many huge plays. The guy is a tank, absolute tank. Like he doesn't care what division, what Power 5, group of 5, doesn't matter who you are. He's probably going to run through you. So I think they're going to sprinkle in a little bit of Abdul-Salam. You know, you can't run Buckley ragged at the beginning of the season. You got to give him some rest. But I think overall it's going to be Jalen Buckley. And I hope he can stay healthy because, man, he might be our next NFL draft pick. That's 100%.
Like I said, he kind of bust onto the scene last year, man. I'm excited to see even more things from him here in 2024.
Absolutely.
Moving over to the receivers, you know, Western Michigan has a great history of producing NFL receivers, as we saw in that highlight video in the beginning. But they do lose Leroy Thomas, their second leading receiver from a year ago. They do bring back Anthony Sambuki, Malik Duadon, and their 2023 breakout receiver, Kenny Womack. They bring in New Mexico State transfer Jordan Parker and Bugs Mortimer from Louisiana Monroe. How did the wide receivers look in the spring?
So I think we got a lot of talent. Kenny Womack is probably ahead of the herd this season. I think he could be our next wide receiver draft pick too. I mean, like he literally catches everything. He runs great routes. Like he really he was a bright spot of last season despite our record. Like I think next year now we have solid quarterback play. We can get some chemistry between the quarterback and the wide receivers and develop. And I think he's going to be really good. Mortimer and Parker, they'll probably be like our slot guys with Sambuchi and Parker and Dudon. There's going to be a 100%, 110% increase in touchdowns.
Yeah, that's one thing we noticed with Womack last year. So he had 76 receptions on 101 targets, but he only had one touchdown. So you definitely think he will see more than one touchdown from Kenny here in 2024?
Yes, I absolutely can guarantee it.
Do you think it's production in terms of like targets? He'll be another 100 target guy, or has there other wide receivers stepped up to maybe take off some of that load off of Kenny?
I think Sambuchi is always a great target. He runs great routes. I mean, I think there's going to be a lot more targets just with our new OC, and it's probably going to be a pass-first offense. So hopefully we're going to lean less on Buckley, but then again, he's still going to be there. I think every single receiver is going to get more targets, and hopefully more catches and more touchdowns. So
awesome. Moving over to the tight ends, they lose Austin Hentz to graduation and Mitch Bartol to Illinois State. However, Blake Bosma and Caden Morris return in 2024, and they also brought in Chris Tootle from NC State. What can you tell us about the tight ends and how they looked in the spring?
So they're looking good too. It's like I said, a lot of these players run a lot of great routes. They can all catch the ball. And I think just with this increase in passing and the new OC, I think it's going to open doors for everybody catching the ball. And then shout out to Austin Hentz, man. He is a WMU legend. Let me tell you. Last year, he scored his very first touchdown of his career as a 25-year-old, 7-year senior. Oh, man. He just grinded it out. And his father actually also went here
Awesome.
and played. So he's a legacy. He's a legend. And I'm just so happy for that dude. We're all so happy when he caught that, man.
Do you think with Walt Bell taking over, do you think the tight ends will be utilized in a similar way that they were in 2023, or will it be more or less? Or
I honestly don't know. I guess we're gonna have to wait and see, just to see what kind of offense he does end up rolling out. But I predict more. I think they're going to be used differently. I think it's going to be a complete revamp of the offense. So I think anything's on the table, to be honest.
All right, moving over to the offensive line, they lose the left side of that during the offseason to graduation, but they bring back their center, Jacob Gideon, right guard, Addison West, right tackle, Jack Schuen. And then they also have some guys with experience on that left side, and John Hofer and Adam Vandervest. They also brought in Quinn Murphy coming over from Notre Dame. How did the offensive line shake up in the spring?
I think they got a lot of pieces. I really like Jacob Gideon. I mean, he is our anchor, 100%. I think he's going to have a really good year, and hopefully with all these, got a lot of new players coming in. Hopefully he can really set the tone for the rest of the O-line and show them how it's done. I think they're going to be pretty darn good. I'm really hopeful for this team. Like, I might be crying at the end of week 8 or whatever, but right now it feels really good with all these recruits and all these pieces moving, and we got LT at the helm. I think the O-line's looking pretty darn good.
It's it's all the off season is always the time for hope and optimism, right?
Right. There's got to be.
If we don't have it, then when are we ever going to have it?
Right. Let me be delusional.
If you had to pick an offensive player to have a breakout type season here in 2024, who would that be?
So I think there's a couple candidates. I think tight end Blake Bosma. Obviously Jalen Buckley, Sam Bucci, and Womack. But I think out of all these guys, who I think are all going to have breakout seasons, I think the guy is Jalen Buckley. He's going to be, I promise you, he's going to be on SportsCenter at least once.
Awesome. Love to hear it.